Hey everyone, Pastor Daniel here. It is late April in central New York and the weather's not too bad. In fact, I think the weather is a bit warmer this year, this time of year, than it was last year at the same time. So, you know what? If global warming is true, I'm kind of glad it's true living in central New York. The warmer it gets, the better. The rest of the world could melt and California floats off, but as long as we're good in central New York, that's all I care about. I just want to do a quick video today talking about what advice would I give to a Christian college student about church. I had lunch this week with a younger gentleman. He's involved with a campus ministry at a college, and anyway, he actually does not attend my church, but we get together sometimes and talk. And I was just sharing with him my experience as a college student and my church going practice back when I was in college. I was better than most Christian college students. More often than not, I was in a place of worship on Sunday mornings. And for about 2.5 out of those 4 years, it was at the same church. It was at a PCA church about 20 minutes away from campus. And maybe 10, 15 students every Sunday would carpool to that church. It was a really good and faithful church. It's still the same pastor is still there. He's a great pastor. So I didn't realize, I wasn't a typical Christian college student where Pastor Pillow was preaching a sermon and they go to Bedside Baptist, right? Because most college students either don't go to church or they just kind of church hop, like whoever they can get a ride with every week or maybe once a month they go to church. So I did pretty good. I'm very committed to RUF, large group campus ministry, and small groups and things like that on campus. But just after, I guess, 10 plus years since leaving college, well, it's been that long, and doing some college ministry and interacting with college students now here in central New York, my viewpoint on what would I encourage a Christian college student to do in terms of a place of worship. And here's what I would say. So, college students, listen up, or high school students even going to college, listen up. I think the best thing a Christian college student can do is to attend the same local church in worship for as long as you can. So if you can do it for 3 to 4 years, maybe just take the first fall semester to look for a church, and by the spring semester you have your church. So you're going to the same place of worship for 3.5 years. I think that's ideal. But even beyond that, here's what I also would say. I would encourage college students to become church members of that church. I saw something on Facebook last fall from a campus ministry at a smaller liberal arts college, where maybe 10 to 12 students from this campus ministry. I think some of them were sophomore. I knew some of them were sophomores. Maybe some were older, but anyway, there are pictures of them one Sunday making vows of church membership. They probably became like associate members of that church, I think. I had never seen that before. I have never seen. Well, I knew a gentleman in my church plant in South Carolina. His senior year, he joined our church, but he was going to stick around even after he joined our church, after he graduated from college. So, but still, besides that, I haven't seen college students joining a church. I never thought of doing that as a college student. But just seeing that story on Facebook, it was just so radically different than what I've seen with Christian college students, and how campus ministries encourage their students to have the local church as a big part of their life. So anyway, picking the same church to go to for almost all 4 years, joining that church. And here's my third piece of advice that goes with that. The kind of church you should look for, it's going to sound weird. And I'm not like say this is mandated by the Bible or anything. It's just kind of wisdom and prudence. I would encourage Christian college students to pick a small, relatively boring and unimpressive church that doesn't have many young families and doesn't have many other college students, doesn't really have a youth group. Maybe it's just a church full of old people, maybe a lot of widows, and a lot of boomers and retired folk. And there's a nice old lady that does the organ for worship every Sunday. And the pastor is not that impressive of a guy, but at least he's trying to preach the Bible and preach Jesus. And they do the sacraments, and they're just trying to be faithful. They do church membership. Maybe they have less than 100 people. I would say that's the ideal kind of church for a college student to attend and become a member of. I just think there's so many benefits to that. I kind of wish I had done that now in college. I went to a really good, faithful PCA church, but across the street from the college was a denominational church, and so it was a school's denominational church, and right across the street from the campus, and mainly older people and some people from the college, who went there. It was not an impressive place, but I just wonder if I had gone there for 4 years and developed relationships there, and it wasn't about me being served or me, I don't know, doing youth ministry, doing high school ministries, I could put that on my resume or something. But I just invest in myself, in the community of God's people who are not like me. I think I would today be a much more humble Christian and probably more Christ-like if I had done that. It wasn't a mistake to go to the PCA church I went to, but I just think if I had made this different choice, I think it would have been good for me. I really do think that. This is not a pitch for students coming to my church. My church actually is pretty evenly diverse in terms of age demographics. About a quarter of our church are young families. The next quarter are like middle-aged people. The next group are like, people about to retire, boomer age folk, and then we have, basically people have been retired for many, many years. The very, very much older folks, and we're pretty well divided in that. So I'm kind of saying, go to a church that has basically older folks or people who are not like you. And again, smaller churches, because that's probably the kind of church option these students are going to have like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years when they have their own families. They're not going to have a lot of flashy, especially as we get more into our post-Christian culture. It's just we're not going to these flashy, glitzy churches as much anymore, especially in certain parts of the country. And plus, I just think there's something about saying no to the temptation to appease our religious consumerism and go to a church that sort of meets our felt needs and our preferences, and go to a church that's being faithful but maybe does not meet our preferences, our surface level preferences. Something that seems right about that and seems consistent with a biblical doctrine of the church. So if I had a college student that loved our church and they said, "Pastor, I'm going to go to this other church in town that's smaller than your church, has a lot of old ladies and widows, and I'm going to get to know them for 4 years, and their music's not as good, and the preacher's not as good as you, but he's just faithful, and I'm going to plug in there." If a student tomorrow came and said that to me, I'd say, "The Lord bless you and keep you. That's amazing. May others imitate you as you imitate Christ." So anyway, after years and years of reflection, that's the advice I would give the Christian college students about the church during their college years. So take that for what you will, chew on it. I may be wrong on some things there, but I don't know. That's just my wisdom for you. All right, we'll see you later.